Hello and welcome to The Nation. You're joining us on Bernama News Channel, BNC, where it's all about you. Welcome to The Nation. Today we have a very special topic. We're speaking about stand up to bullying. And we have two special guests in the studio to speak about this. Before I introduce them, International Stand Up to Bullying Day actually takes place this Friday on February 22nd, 2019. And come this Friday, it apparently takes place in schools, workplaces and organizations in 25 countries across the globe on the third Friday of November. This is to coincide with the Anti-Bullying Week. And then again on the last Friday of February, which is this coming Friday. This day is a special semi-annual event in which participants sign and wear a pink shirt to take a visible public stance against bullying. And how this started, the colour of shirts is based on a campaign started by Travis Price as well as David Shepherd, two students who took a stand for a fellow student who was bullied for wearing a pink shirt to school. So in the studio we are joined by Philip LING. He is the Head of Sustainability for DIGI Telecommunications Malaysia. Welcome, Philip.
Good afternoon.
And also we have Alex Cheang. He is the lecturer in psychology at the International Medical University, IMU. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
Gentlemen, we are speaking about a very serious topic,
yes,
to be exact, standing up to bullying. There has been a lot that has gone on social media. There's gone on a lot in terms of schools as well. We hear a lot about bullying. Now, perhaps we can start with ascertaining and defining the various types of bullies in societies. Perhaps we'll start with you, Alex, the various types of bullies in society today.
The kinds of bullies?
Yeah.
Well, let's start with the definition of bullying. So basically, it is unwanted aggressive behavior, and there's a power imbalance between the two parties,
right,
and the behavior tends to be repetitive. So it's not like a one-off, oh, I didn't mean to hurt you or something, but now it's I aim to actually keep going and hurting you consistently, right? So in types of bullies, there's the direct type of bullying where someone can be bullied face to face.
Yep.
But that's also the indirect approach.
Yes.
So I think we'll be covering that in the cyberbullying aspect as well. So it's a quite wide variety of behaviors that encompass bullying actually.
That's right. And in your line of work, how does this play into this? Do you see this very often in what you do?
Yes, so we see bullying evolving online. So everyone's living on a digital life now.
Yeah.
So the digital space unfortunately allows for anonymity.
Yes.
Allows things to scale up in a second. You know?
Does it change the way the bullies act? Because there is a certain dynamics when we have a physical confrontation.
Yes.
There is a little bit of this energy, you know, you also have to have the support, or is there a lack of people around that allows you to that private space to actually take advantage of the individual? An online space is completely sort of like play zone.
Yeah. Definitely. So again, they feel that they are empowered.
Yes.
The anonymity gives them empowerment.
Yes.
They feel that a lot of people will agree with them. So
And do they feel that they can escape?
Yeah, it could, because it cross borders.
Yes.
I could be bullying you from another country,
Yes.
right? And there's nothing your country can do about it.
Yeah. So how does this I mean, you've been in the industry for quite a while. How has it changed, or has it changed? Has the trends been different over the years as you've seen?
We did a number of surveys, nationwide surveys. The first one was 2013. Around one out of four students, young people, said they've been bullied. 8 years down the road, it's probably still 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4. So the number of bullying has not decreased, definitely.
Right.
In fact, it has increased.
Right.
But what is good is that at least people now know that it's an issue, and people are starting to addressing it.
Right.
You know, and that's where the importance come in.
Right.
Yeah.
In your line of work, do you see a lot of this coming into your space in psychology, in counselling, or in dealing directly with people?
Well, one of the things that we see is power imbalance, which is very, very clear. Now, unfortunately, I have to go back even to the parenting aspect of things.
Right.
So many kids grow up in an environment where there's a tremendous pressure to perform or conform to a particular expectation.
Right.
And they may not be able to do that,
Right.
you know. So they're always being compared to one another, right?
Yes.
With their peers or their cousins or things like that.
Yep.
So one of the techniques that we find is that instead of trying to build themselves up to reach that standard that's expected of them, the easier way is to actually to pull somebody else down, because that way then they end up higher or better than. But that actually doesn't help both parties, because you actually end up not actually improving yourself along the way, but just bringing somebody else down to make you feel better.
Isn't this the same thing that has happened for generations, for years, for eons? This is
Yes.
essentially the same dynamics. I guess that sort of supports the fact that you're saying that it doesn't change. It literally, the numbers are...
not all. So again, a lot of people see bully as a rite of passage, right? I've been bullied when I was growing up, and then you should be fine.
And typically with men even more.
Yes.
Oh, very much so.
Yes.
Because the thing is, we're expected to be tough.
Yes.
We cannot cry. We cannot show any emotional weakness of any sort. Because that opens up to more bullying.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So unfortunately, then we keep things inside. When you keep things inside, it boils inside, right? We don't have a chance to express it.
Right.
And unfortunately, what we're allowed to do though is to show our macho-ness or aggressiveness.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it comes out in a physical manner on somebody else.
Right.
It's unfortunate that way.
But it applies to both men and women, and you see online bullying is not limited.
Oh yeah, for women it's more verbal.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
so
more exclusion, social.
more exclusion. So I don't
Right.
include you in my group,
Okay.
in photographs. I mean, I'll tag you, stuff like that.
In school, it was I don't friend you.
Oh, yes.
When we were
Exactly,
kids.
exactly.
So
I don't friend
excluding from my
Yeah,
group,
exactly.
I feel isolated, ostracized,
Yes,
and therefore
exactly.
that's the power play again.
Very much so, because we put you in your place. Are you part of the in group or not? And make it very clear to you.
This is like the jocks and the nerds all
But
over
nowadays
again.
it's even more sublime. So example, a lot of people when they do group photos on the Instagram or Facebook,
Right.
I choose not to tag you.
Oh,
I tag
my
everyone except for
goodness!
you,
Even
right?
to that point.
Yes, to that point. And as adults, we don't see it, but as children, they actually realize now in
yeah.
every photo, I'm just not tagged.
So now the question is, because we practically live on a social media platform,
Yeah.
does it then get amplified? Because in the past, it's a very distant feeling, because not everybody senses that you are ostracized. But on social media, it's an online platform. If you are ostracized, you're publicly ostracized.
Yes.
And everybody knows about it.
Yes.
So it creates because I'm asking this question because in those days, we've all been bullied, we've all been in the same boat, but why is it that the prevalence of the acting out is so much more visible now? Is it because of the availability of sharing on that platform that is causing, this kind of reaction? Public school shootings in other countries. Here we see viral videos of children getting attacked.
For me, I feel there's two things, right? One, going back to the rite of passage, a lot of people don't understand that when you're bullied online, it's not a fair level playing field.
Right.
It could be an adult bullying a child.
Right.
Whereas in any school, if you see an adult bullying a child, you will step in.
Yeah.
But online, you don't see it.
Yeah.
It's invisible behind
Exactly.
the screen, right?
Right.
And also, when a lot of bullying, when it happens, it can re-happen online. I just need to repost it, and the same nightmare occurs again for you.
yes.
Right.
So your digital signature just stays online forever.
Yes.
They always say what goes online stays online.
online,
It doesn't go away.
unfortunately, yes.
Now, I want to share some statistics that we have. 84% report being bullied online or offline. This is Malaysian statistics, yeah? 33% of Malaysian children say they have been subject to a range of online activities that some may consider to be online bullying. 15% admit to bullying someone online. 45% admit to bullying someone else offline. 27% said their parents talk to them about online risks. There are those. And 30% of parents actually monitor the use of the children's computer. And 18% actually teach them online manners. 13% of parents ask them if they've been bullied online. So based on this, is this enough? Because based on whatever that's been happening, 84% are still being reported to be bullied online. So what are we doing that's not working or that's working?
Well, to complicate matters, actually, if you look at the stats, like exactly what you mentioned just now, like 15% said they have actually bullied others online, 45% have bullied others offline.
Yes.
The definition of a bully and a victim actually is interchangeable.
Right.
Because there's actually another dynamic. We tend to think of two groups, right? There's the bullies and then there's the victims. But there's actually the third group, the bully victims, the ones that have actually gone through bullying themselves and now act out onto a weaker person, so to say, to feel empowered themselves.
That's right.
So while helping themselves, they're actually putting another person down. So that is actually a large group there. So another situation is where, let's say you call me names, right, and I feel hurt. Now I call you back names, and I've switched the roles now, right? But who started it?
It's a tit for tat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that role gets a bit blurred now.
Yeah. So we want to promote a positive environment for
Yes.
all. So I know that there have been steps by various parties. There have been campaigns. There have been guidelines. Ministry of Education. What are the things that you have seen, perhaps, Philip, that has worked or has seen some results?
One thing that we always want to tell young people is that you have to strengthen your resilience level,
Right.
So we always say that it's not if you are bullied, it's when you will be bullied, right? Sooner or later, when you're online, someone will say negative things about you. Someone will not like your photo, won't like your videos. When that happens, how does that affect you? Your digital resilience will actually result in whether it impacts you mentally, emotionally, and also whether you know how to respond to it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna just act out online? Are you gonna just take revenge online?
Right.
Or do you know what you can do to actually protect yourself?
Right.
And to just dissuade that situation and change it. Right?
No, there's also the question of, do you actually give power by responding? Because that's a lot of the time those advice.
But that's also what the bully wants you to do.
Exactly.
I'm
To
trying
not
to trigger
respond?
your response.
No, to response.
No,
To
essentially,
respond.
it's meant to trigger a response, and
Yes.
if you don't give the response, then they don't get the satisfaction of
Right.
that response.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but not all situations may call for that same kind of reaction. It may backfire to a certain extent.
correct.
How do you then, navigate? It is a difficult place to navigate. What's your thought on this?
Well, actually,
Alex?
to follow up from what Philip was saying, okay, so let's say you've been called names or whatever, and you don't respond, which is the responsible thing to do. What the bullies generally do is they amp it up.
Yeah.
They make it more, because if this doesn't work, let me push and push and push.
Yeah.
So in that meantime, the things that are being said about you could be even more hurtful than before.
Yeah.
So it tears you away, and then it breaks you down, and or you may want to just react and fight for your right and all that. That's exactly what they want.
Yeah.
So by taking away that reinforcement of the response, right, you are actually negating the effects. But alluding to what Philip was saying, you have the resilience, the patience, the confidence to say no, not to respond, not to give the power back to the bully in that sense. Because if you look at a lot of celebrities, I mean, whatever they post, thousands of likes, and then there's just a few hundred or even a few thousand dislikes, right? And they always say the same thing: I don't read it. I don't read the comments.
Yeah.
I expect that this will happen. So once you understand that, it's more acceptable.
Yeah.
To understand that this is going to happen.
And at the end of the day, bullying offline or online is we are in communities. So the question is that what is the community doing?
That's right. I was coming up to that question because the bully and the victim are just two players. There are also other players within that sphere.
Exactly.
Online is even bigger.
Yes.
Standby, watchers, observers who can play a part in this, and we've seen this happening in terms of viral, in terms of somebody else as a bystander watching someone being bullied and standing up for it. So is this perhaps a way for the community to come together?
Yes. So again, a lot of bullies, again, like Alex said, is an imbalance of power. When community steps up, then you change that imbalance of power. And it's also when community comes down and say that this has to be reported, this is wrong. This is not the norm of the way we operate on community online. So they are just norms and behaviors and best practices like any other offline communities, right? And to be able to build that. But it's also a way that, in the sense that we don't judge the bully so fast. Most of the time, there's something triggers the bully. Something may have happened, and online you can just see a snippet of something, but you don't know the whole story.
Exactly.
Right? The victim could have been the first initial
Instigator.
bully. Yes, exactly.
And I think you mentioned something before with regards to being the bystander in terms of.
Oh yes. In fact, it's so apt about the standing up campaign, right? It's actually all it takes is one person.
Yeah.
To make a joke out of it, but in the sense of you go to movies, right? And it's like one man, one woman, and basically, but that's what it is about, actually.
Because at the end of the day, let's look at bullying. It's not just physical online bullying. Roads, we are bullies on the road.
Oh, yes.
Cutting queue is a bully, and just the moment one person is allowed to do it, everyone will do it.
Exactly.
So it starts from there. But how do we, like you said, as a community, it's not just that one person. That one person is the one that's taken advantage of, but there's a whole row of other people that join the bandwagon.
Yes. You see, it opens up the the phenomena of, if I see someone doing something, and there's no repercussions. In fact, the person gets an advantage. Hey, why not me too?
Why not I
Why
do
not
that
me too? I mean, there's nothing negative from that.
This is the wrong me too. But we will take a short breather right now. When we come back, we'll talk more and elaborate more on what perhaps are the measures and solutions that we can put in place. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Tiada agenda tersembunyi. Tiada ruang berteka-teki. Temu bual eksklusif menjawab segala persoalan. Saksikan Up Sound setiap Rabu 8.30 malam hanya di Bernama News Channel. Semuanya tentang anda.
Hello, and thanks for staying with us on The Nation. You're still with me, Elaine Law, on BNC Bernama News Channel, where it's all about you. Today, we're speaking about the topic of bullying and standing up to bullying. In the studio, we're joined by two very special guests. We have Philip LING, he's the head of sustainability for DIGI Telecommunications Malaysia, as well as Alex Cheang, he is the lecturer for psychology at the IMU University. Gentlemen, I think we were having a very exciting conversation earlier with regards to talking about bullying, cyberbullying, online bullying, the various forms of bullying. And this doesn't happen to only children, it happens to adults. But it starts from somewhere. It starts from the psyche that you build up as a child. Perhaps this is your field, Alex. How does that get started, and what are the roles that can be played? Because it's a role model, the parental association that you have, what you see around you, that allows you that space to build that character or behavior.
Well, children are like sponges, and what they pick up is just whatever they notice in society. So the main people that actually form their personality are the parents. So they watch how conflict resolution plays out. So if if they're having an argument, what happens? You know, what are techniques? What is being said, right? Or is force being used? For example, they pick this up. Because
I have the question of, because right now a lot of parents are non-engaging with their children. So now they comes to the online space. They're literally learning a lot of other things online without parental supervision. The parents have so little time. When they have time, they want to relax, they don't want to engage. Because I see this all the time. You're at restaurants. There's an iPad or a phone in front of the child. So the child doesn't have that social interaction. So
and a lot of parents feel overwhelmed because I'm not sure what my child is doing. What's this all new apps and all these new platforms?
You're a parent. How does that affect you in that sense? What are the things that you put in place to try to navigate? This is a difficult, uncharted territory kind of waters. So it's a learning process for both the child and the parent.
Yes. So most of the time, what we tell parents or ourselves as parents is that you need to have conversations with your children. You need to ask them what they're doing online, what's your favorite apps and all those. It could be something extremely foreign to you, but it's fine. Ask them to teach you. You see, a child is able to navigate it very well, but sometimes they don't see the risk. They don't see what's the issue of for me talking to someone called SpongeBob. You know? But as a parent, then you realize who's this SpongeBob? You know, when has he been talking to you and for how long? So as a parent, you can put on a certain filter, even though you're unfamiliar at all with that platform. But that helps that conversation to build each other together.
What do you see in terms of the interaction or engagement? Because we were talking about the dynamics. We know psychologically, as young as 2, you are starting to build your character, your personality, your awareness of the world around you, and you're, like you said, SpongeBob, absorbing everything around you. How do we as communities, whether it's teachers, caregivers, parents, conduct ourselves to be aware of the implications that we have on the young minds?
So coming back to being role models, we actually, I just give you an example. I asked my class, can you name any role models in the world right now? And everybody was silent. That's not a good sign.
Maybe they passed on the Nelson Mandelas, the Gandhis.
Right? So the point is that we do, you see, most of what society rewards is outcome-based. Right? I don't care how you get there, get me the outcome. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, right? And actually that is reinforced in corporate line, in society, as well as politically.
Maybe we are where we are today in our political sphere because it has come to that, because integrity is sacrificed, accountability is sacrificed, and whatever kind of transparency and honesty in the name of the results.
Exactly, and therefore children, while they're forming their personalities and their character, they grow up absorbing that this is what the world is. So now what becomes norm is not what we used to think as normal. This is the new normal, right? And then they just move on. Now, having said that, when they're exposed to things online, right? When simple things on YouTube and videos, right? they will curate things for you automatically, right? Based on what you previously watched. Now, how do they know what to do? It's based on your viewing schedule, but also what gets the most likes.
Yeah.
Now, what gets the most likes is more extreme now than what it was normal before as well.
Yeah.
So in order for you to get any amount of likes or how should I put it, a social media influence, you have to push the boundaries even more. So now what's normal in society gets pushed further and further and further away from what we think as normal. But then for the children, they don't know what's normal. They think now this is normal for me. So when they act out, for example, I mean, I have to mention something as well. There was a report online about all this, the wave of superhero movies, right? How do they solve problems? Right? I mean, it's superpowers, it's force, right? Because they don't talk about, let's talk about things. Now, of course, they won't make a movie exciting that way. I totally agree, and I can understand that. My point is, how do we solve problems now is by force.
Right. So what is the solution moving forward? What can we advocate for starters?
If I echo what Alex has said, as a parent, you have to set the same rules for you as a child, right? Sometimes you tell the child that you can only do this, but I'm doing whatever I want to be on the internet, right? Then the second thing, a lot of parents actually give rules, but it's like time-based rules. You know, you can use the tablet after you finish your homework on the weekends.
It's a reward.
Yes, but they don't talk about safety. They don't talk about responsibility, ownership, right? And also a lot of children are actually using their parents' devices. So
which is not filtered.
Yes, which is not filtered, right? And they are picking up whatever you're doing.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's a bit too late when you realize that they're picking up your habits.
Are there any activations that have been implemented that you see that has worked?
There are a lot of tools online that you can actually use. So like YouTube Kids, all Instagrams, all those, they have various functions hiding offensive comments and all those that you can use. But the parents need to take that first proactive step to see that before I give you a device, I actually know that this is not a toy. This is not just a phone. It's a huge thing. How do I make sure that my child is responsible in using
Because there are those that actually go to the extremes of saying that, you know, no devices. And in this day and age, that is something that's impossible to implement. And even if it's no devices in a certain sphere, when they're exposed on the outside, the devices are prevalent. So there needs to be a better way to manage that as opposed to no devices.
And if you use that as a way of punishment, the child will only hide more things from you.
Exactly.
Because you're trying to take away whatever is giving me fun time.
And not only that, I mean, I have a 12-year-old daughter, and she needs her phone. And actually, it's not about going online as much. It's actually interacting. That is her world. Those are her friends up there, you know. And she needs that which actually, as she's forming her personality and character as well, she defines herself in terms of how others see her as well, and how she sees others as well.
So,
you know?
but isn't that something that we can propose to not say change, but add on to creating physical involvement and physical encounters versus being so, I mean, we are so stuck on our screens. So screen is like everyone's lives. I think we literally have to enforce, take a step back. And, you know, there was a sign earlier with bullying, stop. Something has to stop. Something has to change somewhere. So what I'm trying to put out here is that what is the message that we want people to go out and say after they've heard this, and say to you, okay, stop. What is it? What is the one thing, if you want them to take away from today? What is the one thing? Alex?
Okay, like for me, it would be stand up for yourself and also for others, because that's just what the right thing to do. Okay, it's as simple as that. But then, how do we do that? And that's the key.
Correct.
So one of the things is actually research has shown all it takes is one person to stand up to a bully, and if they can get other people along, the bystanders. Now bystanders, by necessity, they're always a larger group of people than the bully or the bullies themselves. So if you can get a larger mass to actually stop what's actually happening, the success rate is very, very high. That the people stand their ground, fight for the rights, but also that, look, I'm here for you. So after that situation is over, be a friend to those who are being bullied, because usually they're misunderstood or they're very alone. All you need to show is that kind of support and be there with them. So like just walking along the school corridors with them, right? Or you actually just have lunch together with them. So now they're not alone and open for bullying. They're not the target anymore, but now it's like, okay, there's another person, there's support right now.
But you've also mentioned about the bully themselves as well. They are also in need of some kind of support.
Right, so most people, they just push the bully aside, okay, it's your fault, and then we expel you and that kind of stuff. But what made the bully in the first place, right? So what was the situations? What's the home life like? Usually, why people act out is actually they just want to gain a sense of control in their life. That's it. They just want to express themselves.
Perhaps everybody just needs to be heard.
Exactly. No, we all want that. We all want that.
Wants to be heard.
Exactly.
Your final take on this, Philip?
I would say more intentional when you go online. Be intentional on what you're posting, what you're doing. Do you want to create a kinder community? Do you want to advocate diversity, inclusion? Be more intentional in what you post and what you like and what you comment. You know, because sometimes I think we're doing it by default, automatically, and we don't think of the consequences of what we do.
Right. Thank you so much, Philip. Thank you, Alex, for the conversation. We look forward to living in a better community and for the community to actually stand up for each other to encourage better behavior and to not allow for the negativity to continue. I think that's the biggest thing, to stop allowing things, because they always say for evil to triumph, good men do nothing, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. That's all the time that we have. Thank you for staying with us till the end of the show. Bye for now. See you guys.